Glad to see you. So as you can see, we moved the chairs around a little bit. The session looks a little different than last week because, as I mentioned, you're going to have a conversation with each other. And we really, in IRT, want you to look at each other, look into each other's eyes, and really try to, feel each other's emotion and what you're trying to say. Mm-hmm. So that's why the chairs are facing each other. I've also given you kind of a brief outline of the Imago dialogue with the different steps that we discussed last week. So I might refer to it, or you can feel free to look down. But like I said, the point is to really connect to each other. So you really want to try to look at each other more than just staring down at the sheet. Okay, are we ready to start?
I can, yeah.
So which one of you would like to begin? Hopefully this session we're going to have both of you be able to try out this dialogue. But Jerry or Jean, which one would like to start?
Well, since she's not at me, I guess I'll go first. Is now an okay time to talk?
It's interesting because it's weird because we haven't really had time to talk or you haven't wanted to, but I guess.
Yeah, so I can really hear your frustration, Jerry, and I know that that's been building up, but that is what we're trying to do now. The goal is to have this conversation.
Okay. So now it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, what I wanted to tell you is I am sorry for what I did in terms of appointing Ty, our son, as my healthcare proxy. I didn't expect my healthcare proxy to ever be activated, and so that's why it kind of just slipped my mind. Didn't really feel the need to tell you at the time, but here we are now. And I do know that I messed up, and I felt like you've been kind of distant and you've been mad at me. I can sense that. And so since you've been distant, I'm also trying to avoid conflict. So I've started to kind of distance myself from you and from our family. And I don't like that. I don't like how it makes me feel. So yeah, that's kind of just what's going on for me right now.
Okay. Thank you. So, Jerry, the next step is for you to kind of mirror back what you heard Jean say.
What I hear you saying is that you didn't expect to have to use your healthcare proxy and didn't think it would ever be an issue, and that you're sorry that I'm upset, and that you miss our family being close. Did I get all of it?
Yeah, that was most of it. I also, I want us to go back to the way we were before. When this happened several months ago, I felt like things have never been the same. So that's also something I wanted to kind of talk about here with you guys.
Well, that's kind of your fault. You didn't make me your healthcare proxy.
Mm-hmm. And so, Jerry, sorry, I'm going to, interrupt a couple times. And again, I very much hear your frustration, but right now we're trying to kind of mirror back what she said. So, what Jean just said, she said, do you remember what she said? Can you mirror it back? Instead of trying to say your own feelings to it, you'll have an opportunity to do that in just a few minutes. Okay. But can you mirror back what she had just said? Or would you like her to repeat it?
I can do it. Let's see. I think what I heard you say is that you want things to be back the way they were before everything happened and for us to be close again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it. It wasn't that hard.
Yeah, I guess.
It can be hard, I think. That's why it's so important to have someone kind of help you at first. And I think over time you'll see that it does get to be a little bit easier. But it's a different way of talking than you were used to doing. So it can be hard. And so thank you. So the next step is the validation. So if you look down at the sheet going to number 8, you can ask if she got it, if you got it.
Did I get everything that you want to say?
You did. I know that you were trying to remove your feelings from it, which sometimes can be hard because I have a lot of feelings too. So I do appreciate that, you're able to just state the facts as they were. So thank you.
And the last step of this dialogue is the empathic step. So now can you imagine how she feels, and can you tell her? And you could be wrong because you're not her, but we're just trying to imagine how you would feel if you were in her position.
I can imagine it being hard after being sick, just not having me around and being distant and mad at you. I can understand that you want us to be close again, and after going through a scary time, it's even harder. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got it. I also feel guilty for what I've done, and like I think that's been something hanging over my head for a while, and I don't know how to get rid of that feeling. But you got everything else.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Thanks for listening.
Great. That was a really, really great first round of this. And so now, Jerry, I'd like to give you the opportunity to be the sender, which is the person that's talking, and really tell Jean how you're feeling. So you can start with that. And then after, Jean can mirror what she heard you say.
Okay. Is this a good time to talk?
Sure.
Okay. So when you had the stroke, it was really scary for me. But I knew I was going to take care of you. I was really, when decisions had to be made for you, I assumed that I would be making them as your partner, and I was really upset when I found out it was Ty, not me. I didn't understand why you didn't trust me and why one of our children was, and it just made me question our whole relationship. If we can't depend on each other first and foremost, like, what have we been doing?
So, I don't know, like based on what you said, if I'm going to try to reflect that back to you, it sounds like you expected to take care of me when I got sick, and that you would be like the first point of contact instead of Ty, our son, that you were scared when I had a stroke. Did I get that right?
Yeah, and I mean, and you know, it made me question our relationship as well.
And so you felt like our relationship was in question as well.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
Yeah. I guess that also, like, I just feel like the distance that we have now is because I don't know if I can trust you anymore. I don't know if not only that you don't trust me to be there for you, so I'm not sure you can be there for me. And with all the time that's passed, that's really devastating.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, like that's the first time I've ever heard you say anything like that. So, I mean, it's good to hear how you've been feeling. Sounds like trust is like a big issue for both of us right now.
And I'm just going to interject, and I agree. Sounds like you're being very honest, which I'm sure Jean really appreciates, and that this trust issues are things we can work on moving forward. And Jerry, can you repeat back what you heard Jean say?
So it sounds like trust is kind of a big issue for us right now, and when you found out that you weren't my healthcare proxy, that kind of made you question our relationship, and you know, you're kind of wondering where we stand right now in terms of trust, and I'm kind of wondering that too, but that's kind of off the point, but did I get that?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
So I'll ask you to both look at number 8 again and see. So Jean, you can ask if Jerry feels validated. You kind of already did, but maybe a little bit more specifically again.
Based on what I've shared, repeated back with you, do you feel like validated and that I've understood where you're coming from?
Yeah, I mean, I think at least you understand that I was hurt and I don't know where we stand, and that scares me. And it at least feels good that you've heard it.
So, you know, I would imagine right now that you just said you're feeling scared. You're feeling maybe confused about our relationship right now. Maybe you're feeling that I'm untrustworthy, based on, or maybe that we're having communication difficulties. Is that kind of what you've been feeling?
Yeah, that is all of it.
Is there anything else that you're feeling that Jean didn't mention?
No, it's mostly about trust and just hurt that I wasn't the first person she would come to.
So being heard is also something that, like you're feeling pained by my decision not to make you my healthcare proxy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see how you could be hurt by that.
I'm glad you understand that.
And so if you look at number 10, a polite closing, if you want to just.
Well, thanks for listening to me initially talk about how I'm feeling.
Yeah, and thanks for listening to me. It feels good to be heard.
Same. Yeah, this is like the most communication we've had in a while.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably more close than we've felt in months.
Definitely.
Well, I want to thank you both for trying out this Imago dialogue, and I kind of already did hear a little bit about how it felt, but I would like to hear from each of you about what that felt like to have this type of conversation where you're actually just really listening to the person and trying not to respond.
It was hard not to respond. I think when we argue, or I'm more concerned with what I have to say. Not to say that I don't feel strongly about this, but it does change things to know where she came from.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think like having a space where we're kind of both forced to listen and then we both have the opportunity to share our viewpoints, I found that really helpful. And then like when you interjected, I felt like that kind of helped like redirect us back to the problem at hand, because we have a lot of, or I'll speak for myself, I have a lot of feelings about this. So.
Yeah, I think that helped, because I think when we argue, normally we kind of get off track. I guess this kind of helped address the real problems.
Good, and I think, yeah, like what you both said, that's one of the purposes, is that when you're arguing, you end up not listening to each other. So practicing this type of dialogue, and at first, it can be in this space where it's someone is there to interject and help you stay on track, can be really helpful and really help you to deepen your relationship and your connection and trust in one another.